Hello and welcome back to Olympics Daily. This morning we are outside Buckingham Palace at the finish line to today's cycle road race, which will be taking place later. I'm joined by Roger Blitz. Roger, it's an appropriate place to be, surely, because last night one of the stars of the show was in fact the Queen.
It was an astonishing gobsmacking moment. I still can't quite believe she did appear in real life and say what she did, and it was just the moment, I think, that will go down. It will be the most memorable moment.
There was many spectacles last night to appreciate and enjoy. You were there. What was the atmosphere like? I hear there were some fairly emotional journalists around.
We went for a couple of beverages after the show, and some hard-bitten hacks felt that Boyle had really touched them in the way they just completely didn't expect. It was charming. It wasn't sentimental or mawkish. It was affectionate. It was saying something that is very difficult to do, very rare ever to happen, which is to try and absolutely nail the British identity in a compressed way, not just domestically also, but for an international audience.
Yeah, so I think it's regarded that Danny Boyle had success last night. Of course, he did have a budget of 27 million to help him and 7,500 volunteers. The technology also played an enormous role. Yes. And I hear that the Chinese had something to do with that.
He used a company that did a lot of the stuff for the Beijing opening ceremony and is doing a lot of help marketing the games here. And they enabled him to create a real colour and light effect around the stadium, which I think also played extremely well on television.
And these were these sort of digital panels that each seat had, is
these
that right?
Pixelated paddles that people could hold. It created, actually, if you wanted, quite an interactive thing. You could wave it around. And actually, the thing about an opening ceremony event, you get a lot of dignitaries, a lot of suits, and it can be a flat event for that reason, but actually I think the interaction helped break that.
Well, it definitely looked amazing on TV, really translated well. It wasn't distracting, was it, having these lights flashing by your head?
Didn't actually have any effect at all. It just created a wonderful panorama effect for what was going on stage, which was in itself, and probably more so, just wonderful.
Now, of course, today's tip of the day.
Well, we're here for the finish of the cycling road race. Mark Cavendish, Britain's great sprint champion, he had a superb Tour de France. He helped Bradley Wiggins win the race, and he is the person who, if he can win today, if he can get across that line with the gold medal, he will set a fantastic momentum for the whole of the British team, which will build on what Boyle achieved last night. It's all about the feel-good factor, isn't it?
Exactly. Now, today's photo finish is another picture from last night, these incredible burnished rings that sort of floated down over the audience, and the pearly kings and queens looking on. There were a lot of quirky moments last night, perhaps a lot of in-jokes.
Yeah.
How much do you think those would have translated for a foreign audience?
Some might not, but I think Boyle was saying, this is our bit, this is the British bit, this is what we know and love and recognise, and it was all part of the humour. He did it in a very understated way, which was lovely.
And I mean, there was a lot of humour. Obviously, we had Mr. Bean and the Queen and James Bond, and those would have obviously translated very well to a foreign audience.
Yes, and I think that the marriage of the domestic and international audience, the hardest thing he had to pull off, I think he did extraordinarily well.
Excellent. Well, Roger, thank you very much. We're going to be back on Monday when we're going to be talking to Vanessa Cortacas, who will be watching how the swimming develops this weekend. And of course, we'll be talking to her about how the beach volleyball gets going, which will be taking place just down the road here at Horse Guards Parade. We'll see you then.